Welcome to WEFM's 3 p.m. News. I am your presenter, Jessica Klein. First on the local scene. The SILAC Food and Nutrition Security Center at Stony Grounds recently hosted an FAO-funded Dasheen post-harvest management training session. This included a number of Dasheen exporters from the agricultural sector. The event aims to raise awareness regarding various challenges, including frequent sources of post harvest losses, as well as ways and strategies for dealing with issues in Dasheen post harvesting handling. Attendees were presented with principles for commercial storage, environmental factor management, delivery handling, and sanitization in order to provide safe and effective Dasheen post harvest handling methods. They gained a better understanding of the most efficient methods of handling the sheen. Agronom- Agronomist and trainer Samuel De Costa of the Food and Agriculture Organization, FEO, expressed satisfaction with the training and the openness of the participants. Taxi operators in the tourism industry can benefit from the recently announced concessions by the Vincentian government. Tourism Minister Carlos James, during a news conference last week, stated that the concession will apply to all vehicle types being used as taxis in the tourism sector. He said that the government will be facilitating concessions for taxi operators all across the board, whether it is for coaster buses, 30 seaters, 26 seaters, 18 seaters, 7 seaters, or 5 seaters. The minister further outlined the set concessions of which taxi operators can benefit. We hear more from the tourism minister.
A brand new vehicle to a year old will receive 100% concession, duty-free concession, exempt on import duty at the port for taxi operators. Vehicles 2 to 3 years of age, 75% exemption on import duty at the ports. Vehicles ranging from 4 years to 6 years, 50% concession at the port on import duty for an excise duty for vehicles at the port. And this also includes charges that also carry VAT as well. All of these tax measures are going to be removed for taxi operators.
Minister James also outlined the conditions which the taxi operators must fulfill to benefit from the tax concessions.
So you have had to establish that you've been a taxi operator for the last 3 years, ensure that you're in good standing in terms of your license and all of your taxes with the Inland Revenue Department, the National Insurance Services. All vehicles must be used primarily for the provision of transportation services for tours and general taxi service around St. Vincent and the Grenadines. What that simply means is that you can't apply for this tax concession on your vehicle and you're doing a dollar trip, taking passengers from Annisville to Kingston or from Glen to Kingston or Green Hill to Kingston. This is exclusively for taxi operators who are in the business of utilizing the services to transport persons in tourism.
That was the Minister of Tourism and Civil Aviation, Carlos James. The North Union Secondary School and the George Stephens Senior Secondary School split their games on Tuesday in the 2023 Inter-Secondary School Netball competition. George Stephens won the junior game 7-5, and North Union Secondary took the senior game 18-13. In secondary schools football, the opening Shield games that were postponed from October 8th will now be played on October 15th, 2023. The game will take place at the Camden Park playing field at 3 p.m. following the opening ceremony at 2 p.m. Bishop's College Kingstown will play against the Central Leeward Secondary School in the junior division, and Central Leeward will face the Pitty Bodell Secondary School in the senior division. On the regional scene, Chief Executive Officer CEO of the Grantley Adams International Airport Inc., Hadley Bourne, has announced that Wednesday has seen a successful testing of its aircraft emergency events, although there were some gaps in the national response. He said that the simulation of a plane crash landing at Oyston's Christchurch met the overall regulatory standards of response. The CEO told Barbados Today the nature of the simulation was of an aircraft having a sudden drop descent in the Oystons area, with casualties in the water and simulating the national response that could occur by the situation in various forms. The airport CEO said the various emergency units were involved on land and at sea. He said that the full scale exercise was a regulatory requirement which must be conducted on a regular basis in order to test the country's readiness to respond to aircraft emergencies according to international criteria. The Dominican Republic has partially reopened its border with Haiti on Wednesday to limited commercial activities. This follows a near month long closure of the frontier in a spat over construction of a canal targeting water from a shared river. Vendors in Dominican border cities are allowed to sell goods such as food and medicine, but exporting electronic products and construction materials, including cement and metal rods, is prohibited. Wednesday was the first time since September 15th that the border partially reopened, though Dominican Prime Minister Luis Abinader kept a ban on issuing visas to Haitian citizens that were implemented last month. The Dominican border reopening was delayed after a pre-dawn fire at the main marketplace in Dajabon destroyed dozens of stalls. Authorities said they were investigating the circumstances surrounding the fire. Finally, on the international scene, people in Malawi are being urged to avoid alcohol and caffeine as the drinks could cause dehydration following warnings of an extreme heat wave that could see temperatures rise up to 44 degrees Celsius. According to the Weather Bureau, high temperatures are usual for October, but are likely to become more frequent and severe because of climate change. Intense heat waves also hit parts of North Africa, Europe, the US, and Mexico in July. Experts say 2023 is likely to be the warmest year on record due to ongoing emissions of warming gases and El Nino weather events. In an advisory, Malawi's Department of Climate Change and Met Services said a prolonged period of hot and uncomfortable weather was expected to persist until Saturday. This has been WeFM's 3 p.m. news. I have been your presenter, Jessica Klein. Join us again at 5:30 p.m. for WeFM's evening news, and we thank you for listening.